You're a Naija girl.
Yeah, I'm a Naija girl.
Do you connect with any other Naija girls here, or like, so you know, I listen to this podcast by L.A.W.
Oh, I've heard about her, but I don't listen to it.
Yeah, I love the podcast.
Really?
I really
she's not
do.
from here though, is she?
No, she's from Chicago.
Okay. So a lot of Nigerians in Chicago.
So her and Yvonne.
Okay.
Yeah, Yvonne. They have a podcast, and it's called Jesus and Jollof.
Okay. Is the Jesus really in there?
You know, a little bit. It's a sprinkle of it. Yeah,
okay, sprinkle of Jesus. We can take that.
Yeah.
I'll take
So do you eat jollof?
I love jollof.
You love jollof?
My mom makes
you know how to cook it?
Nah, I don't. Sorry. A lot of people have been asking. My mom
I can't have you make me none.
No, I can have my mama make me some.
That's fine.
Yes, Mother OB will get you.
Yes,
right.
get me right. But yeah, so I was like, oh, she's a Naija girl.
Yes, I am. Yes.
Yeah, I love listening to them.
They're awesome. I mean, I don't listen to the podcast, but I know who they are.
So you do so much in the community, like off camera, we're just talking about all the things that you are doing and the things that you are accomplishing, the boards that you are on. It's just amazing. Like, how are you mastering and just managing all of this? You do community relations, you help people build their brands, you know, launch their brands, help them, you know, something like that. Like, tell us about that journey. Like, where did that begin?
So, I would like to say, so honestly, I want to take it back to undergrad.
Okay.
Or I'll take it back to high school so people can understand undergrad more so for me. So, when I was in high school, I played basketball. When I was in elementary school, I played basketball. So, all this brand and community stuff, that is like new to me. And people understand why I'm saying it's new to me. My focus was play ball, go to college and play ball, and get to the WNBA. And I always tell people that story because it's critical to why I am where I am today. So when I was in high school, I played basketball, but I got injured in my junior year. And I had a sprained ligament, in my left ankle. So I had to go through physical therapy. I had a boot, and I was on a boot and crutches for about 6 months. And it was during that time I was becoming full IB as well. So I was like, the rehabilitation period was so much for me. Being full IB, still trying to play ball, still trying to play at a level where I have to keeping up. Not like back in middle school where, you know, you get injured, you can kind of, you know, recuperate very quickly. But at the high school level, it's kind of like you get hurt, you behind. And you got to then catch up. And then when you get to where you were, you still got to catch up because now you're 6 months behind even if you're healthy. Right. So I kind of was like, basketball, this ain't it. Like, I'm not really feeling it anymore.
So you kind of had to like pivot somewhere else.
I had to pivot. So I pivoted and I really focused on being a full IB student. And I got involved with Amnesty International and the American Civil Liberties Union on campus. I'm saying campus as in Rufus King. And when I got involved with those organizations, I was like, wow, like, you know, there's so many international issues, not even just local issues, but so many international issues around civil rights issues and social justice issues and racism and prejudice.
So that's where it started.
That's kind of where it started igniting itself. And then I was helping with a lot of different community initiatives. So I was very involved with Mission 1011 here in the city of Milwaukee that everybody knows that was going on back in like the 2009, 2010, 2011 era. And I used to host the community basketball games. So I did that for about 5 years. And then, so when I got to undergrad, I wanted to actually go to school for physical therapy. Connecting still to basketball because I still had this love for sports, and I'm like, man,
so you're still trying to connect it.
I don't want to let go of basketball, and I've been playing basketball my whole life. Like, I don't know no other sport. Like, that's all I know. Like, basketball. Basketball was really life for me. But then I realized sciences wasn't my niche. So I forgot what brain side it is, but I think people who are like math and science, they're right brainers. If I'm not mistaken, and I think the people who are like,
I don't recall what it is.
I don't know what side it is, but I just know there's people who are on the math and science side.
I'm not on the math and science side.
On the English and you know, whatever side. And I'm those people. I'm not the math and science.
That's me too.
Don't get me wrong.
We're there.
Like, I'm not terrible at math and science, but it is not my strong suit. But that's why I'm great at being a public speaker and communicating and doing brand work. So nevertheless, when I got into undergrad, I tried to do that for a while. I kind of had to pivot again. And I realized, like, you know, as I kept going, so I was really like holding on to, you know, physical therapy, and I was majoring in kinesiology. So when I finished my undergraduate degree, I would get my degree in physical therapy. And then,
so you were just really trying hard to connect.
I was trying hard. I did not know where I was going to end up. I've sat in numerous advisor meetings as a student, like, I don't really know where I'm going. I was also working. I've always worked. So I was doing so much, being involved. I was involved in the community through my sorority when I got in undergrad. So I did a lot, community-wise. Still couldn't make the connection for myself, purpose-wise. Why am I so engaged in the community? Why do I actually have a heart for the community?
Yeah.
And I didn't make that connection to my career until literally junior year of undergrad.
Okay.
So that's when I pivoted and switched my major.
That's interesting because in the junior year of high school, this big thing happened to you.
Exactly.
So then not junior year in college. Okay.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
I've made a couple pivots throughout between high school and undergrad, and finally was like, you are a community person.
Yeah.
But how do you tie this to a career?
Right.
And I don't think schools do a good enough job to make that connection for students. It's almost like I had to come to that understanding on my own. And nobody made that connection for me that you could have a career in community engagement, community affairs.
Yeah. So what do you think? I didn't mean to cut into that, but what do you think that schools can do better? Specifically, are you talking about high schools? Or are you talking about higher ed?
More higher ed.
Okay.
Because I think in high school there are areas that they need to focus on that don't really entail focusing on what you're probably going to major in. Giving ideas and hinting towards it, and letting high schoolers have that free spirit to kind of engage how they want to engage is important, because you don't want to start pushing people into too many directions where it feels like it's forced.
Right.
But as a freshman or sophomore in undergrad, I think having more understanding of skill sets and passions and tying that to career. So for me, don't get me wrong, I think maybe some of my people in higher education saw people, physical therapy, helping, passion, but I don't literally day-to-day touch people and help them. I help them with strategies, and I help them with finding funds, and it's a different way to help people, and I don't think that's an area where people give you an understanding around. Because it's kind of like my career path has been created by me. Yeah. And I think it's harder to place students like myself in careers because it is a creative path. Right. The degrees and the majors that we decide to focus on, is, you have to make that into a path for yourself. It's not like saying, oh, I want to do political science and then become a lawyer, or I want to do biology and then go into dentistry, or I want to do chemistry and then become a medical doctor. Yeah. It's really you want to go into community affairs. Yeah. That's not a trade. Where that's going to work out. Where that's going to work out at. And then if you ever realize people who do get to community affairs, those departments are very few and small.
Or something that's always created.
Exactly, something that's always created. It's always thought of. Like D&I, diversity inclusion is the new thing. That was created. You know what I mean? So those things aren't.
You never thought about it in school.
You never thought about it in school. I'm going to go into diversity and inclusion.
No.
Or I'm going to go into community affairs. I never thought that when I was in school.
Thought about that? Nobody.
Yeah, nobody thought about that. Said I'm going into community affairs.
Yeah.
I think they are more so now though.
Yeah, which is a good thing because there's so much going on in the world that we do have to create those spaces.
Exactly, and it's almost like we can use public health as a case study right now. Yeah, public health is a new thing. That's very new. So when I've had talked to a nurse not too long ago, and she's like, I'm trying to make the connection as a nurse to public health, and I was like, I actually feel bad for you guys who did nursing back in the day because public health wasn't a thing. So you guys have the clinical background, not the public health education background. And there's a disconnect because public health has only been around for, let's say, 10 years max. The first public health institution in Wisconsin was UW Milwaukee. It's 10 years old. So public health is a new thing. So there's just these new areas of focus for people who are community focused to go into. That people can now say, oh, this is where I fit. Yeah. Where back in the day,
I like that you're bringing awareness to all this newness. I feel that what you're doing, you are bringing awareness. You are being a spokesperson for the newness in these fields and in these careers. What is something that you love most about that you do on your job?
And I think it's very interesting because even how I got to where I am, it took, like I said, even after undergrad, it still took me a while to figure out career-wise where I would end up. I was still going through resumes so do I still focus on healthcare administration? Or, do I focus on X, Y, and Z? And it, was clicking, but it wasn't clicking fully because for me it was degree, job. Degree, placement. Degree, money. How am I going to make it
And that's what
happen?
You're taught.
That's
that's what we're taught.
We're taught. And nobody really teaches the, purpose, passion, where you need to be placed as an individual in society, connecting back to your educational pursuits.
That is so true.
Yeah. So for me, it really came about, you know, probably more so when I interned at Argosy Foundation. And I interned there, I want to say it was my junior going into senior year. That was right before I started working at United Way, and working with L.A.W Milwaukee. So L.A.W Milwaukee is an organization in the city of Milwaukee that was founded to help youngsters find their way, find their passions, align themselves with different mentors, etc., to be able to really find their placement in society, throughout school and after. So being involved with L.A.W and being involved with Argosy Foundation really helped me to be like, I'm a community person.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Yeah. Community relations, community partnerships.
So then did you start owning that?
I started owning it.
Yeah.
I started owning it. I started realizing there were people like me.
Yeah.
How they got there was interesting because a lot of them had similar majors as mine. So like for me, when I majored in communication, because that's where I switched my major to. So I have an emphasis in kinesiology, but my degree is in organizational communication. And a lot of people, there's a stigma around the degree in communication that what you gonna do with that?
Right.
I do think it's one of those degrees that you do need to ask, what are you gonna do with that? Yeah. But it takes somebody like you and I to do something with it.
Right.
Because it's meant for people like us who are going to pivot, have to figure it out, and find their own lane.
True. I definitely had to pivot. So I can definitely agree with that.
So there's nothing wrong with that degree. It's just for a particular person.
Right.
It's either you're really going to go into journalism, newspaper writing, whatever the case may be, or you really are going to utilize it to implant yourself in somebody's organization.
And you know what the neat thing about communication is? You can do so much with communication.
So much, and people don't realize that. I didn't realize that until I literally switched my major to and was like, oh, it's bigger than just writing a paper and talking to people.
Yeah, it really is. 'Cause, I mean, like that's like the foundation and the basis, and then you can use communications in different, companies.
Right.
Whether it is sports.
Exactly.
Or whether it is health. So
technology. Technology, communication, and rhetoric, and speech,
so much.
and public communication, and organizational, and healthcare communication. It's an array of fields for communication. So
yeah, it really is.
So once I got involved with Argosy Foundation, and then I operated as a community liaison for L.A.W Milwaukee for about 3 years. I really started figuring out my passions and really starting to realize, like, I'm just gonna own who I am. I'm not gonna do the status quo track, and that's no knock to anybody else who does, but it wasn't for me. And
so you're journeying, and you're trying to figure out what's going on with your career, and how do you pivot, and how do you move here and there. Who do you have in your corner that's helping you? What mentors do you have?
Yeah. So I can give, I can speak on about 2 people who were very solid in me, walking me through my career, walking me through my strengths, walking me through my weaknesses, because we all have them, and understanding where I should be placed, and how my strengths and what my passions are should be placed on a career standpoint. And I'm gonna say them, and people probably already know who they are. But Erica Joy Daniels, and then Ossie Kendricks. They've been my mentors for about 5 years. So that's you.
And do they work in the same field?
So they work in different fields, similar sectors. They've actually both probably been in all sectors though. So currently Erica Joy Daniels is the Chief Diversity Officer at Advocate Aurora. And then Ossie Kendricks is the President and CEO of the African American Chamber of Commerce. But I met both of them even before they were in those positions. So when I met Erica Joy, she was working at Brady as a global director. Brady's a corporation, so that's different than healthcare. And then when I met Ossie, he was working at Feeding America as a vice president.
And that's interesting that it's a he. Because I too think that it's important to have a male mentor. I myself have a male mentor.
I think it's very important.
And so I think that as women, we're all about women empowerment, which is very great. But I think too, to have that balance of a male mentor is very important too, because it helps you to have a different lens on like who you are. How do you communicate? How do you present yourself? One thing my male mentor, just encouraged me that you don't have to tone down who you are. That's who you are. You are, whatever he was telling me I was during that time at that meeting, but that's who you are. And that's what's going to help you to get to where you are and to maintain where you are at. So I think that's important.
Ossie was actually
to have that balance.
Who helped me pivot.